Hi, this is Vicky, also known as Dragonfly7673. Today is February 24th, I think. I just looked. Yes, February 24th, and it is about 6:45. I was going to start a little sooner, but the latest clue for the Afghan came out late today, and I really wanted to get a square done to show anybody that was interested. And then also I went to use my iPad for recording and realized that it was dead. If I had realized that sooner, I could have plugged it in while I was doing the squares. I don't think there will be a Tigger this time because he is downstairs sleeping cozily under a blanket. So I'm kind of hoping he stays put. But there is a Missy girl up here, and who knows, she may get it in her head to take his place. So I worked on some things this week, and not all of them are possible to show you. I had told you guys that I was going to crochet a mouse and cookie for one of my employees who is helping out with a fundraiser for her nephew, and they're making a basket about surrounding the story Give a Mouse a Cookie, and they needed the mouse. They had other things for the basket but no mouse, so I actually worked on him a little bit last week. I had done I did the legs I showed you last time, and then that night while the podcast was processing, I did the arms, and the next day I made the ears, then I made the head, like the basis of the head, and then on Friday, I think Friday I put the head together and most of the body. Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It's all kind of blurring together. Anyway, so I finished him up, and on Saturday, I was all done, texted her, and then I just passed him off today. So, she was sick, so she wasn't there yesterday. Needless to say, I don't have the little mouse and his cookie, but I'm going to pause here so you can see pictures of the little mouse and his cookie, and he came out really cute. Alright, and I also put a close-up of the cookie. Now, this may sound weird, but the part that stressed me out the most was putting the chocolate chips on the cookie. They're just brown yarn. You actually make 2 cookie pieces, and on one of them you thread brown yarn randomly to make the chocolate chips, and then you weave those in, and then you sew the 2 cookies together, sandwiching in all those pieces. And I don't do random very well. Even if I'm trying to do random, a while back I did my Colorwork sweater, and it was supposed to be randomized colors, and I ended up rolling a dice. Actually, I used a random generator, but I basically forced myself to be random by using a random generator. And I struggle. I want everything to be kind of lined up, and so best friend was laughing at me because I was kind of twitching while I was trying to do random cookies, chips. But they came out really well. I knew they needed to be random because real chocolate chip cookies are not organized. So they needed to be random, and I think it came out very well, but I really mentally struggled with it. We all have our own glitches, and even though you would never know it to see a lot of my chaotic life, there are certain things that I want to be in order. The pattern was very well done. The only issue I had with it was that at certain points it said to, you know, now attach the ears, glue the felt on the ears, attach the ears, put the eyes, do the nose, attach the arms. At different points it told you all these steps of when to do the pieces. At no point did it ever tell you to put the head onto the body. I was guessing that my friend did not want her mouse to be headless. So I chose to attach the head to the body instead of giving her two pieces. But I did find it kind of funny. I actually read over it a couple times thinking I must have missed it. No, nowhere did it tell me to attach the head to the body. So anyway, so that got done. I also finished all my squares for Clue 2 for the Afghan. Now, I have, I'm charging the iPad while I'm doing this, but I almost lost the charging cable, which would have then tipped everything. So, last week I showed you Clue 2 and told you not to look if you didn't want to see it. So I am now assuming that if you have been doing this, you have seen Clue 2, so I'm going to go ahead and show it. So Clue 2 has this kind of flower petal X on it. Now, I say flower petal with absolutely no idea what this is going to look like when it's done. It's just, that's kind of what it looks like to me. So this one is the gray with the purple, and this one is the dark gray with the robin's egg blue. Now, it's funny because when Best Friend and I were talking, this one is his, this one is mine. Just with the clue just with the squares at this stage, he likes this one better and I like this one better. Given our next set of colors, I don't think there's any chance of us trading. Although, you know, if you're sharing a house and you're sharing blankets, you may swap them out anyway. But I don't think we will officially be trading. But I just thought it was funny that based on just this, we like the opposite ones. I'm going to stop and post a picture of these so you can see them better. Actually, I'll post a couple pictures, including the completed stacks. Alright, so Clue 3 came out today, and the clues have been coming out, well, Clue 1 and Clue 2 came out at 10 a.m. Eastern, which is 9 a.m. my time. And actually that works pretty well because I tend to have a lot of conference calls, so I can bring all my stuff and then work on the next clue during the conference calls. And today, particularly, I had a totally free lunch because Best Friend had to be in a meeting over lunch. They fed him, and then I also had several conference calls, and I was like, yeah, I brought all my colors because I didn't know what colors were going to be needed next, and then it turned out the clue didn't release. And it didn't release, and it didn't release. There were some technical issues. They were having trouble loading to YouTube. And I know that every now and then, YouTube will just be a pain. Like, you'll get everything loaded, but the actual final processing and approval will take forever. It's why a lot of times I would actually do it overnight. Sometimes now I do it at work because it seems like it's quieter, but not always the case. So anyway, they had said they had technical issues. They thought it would release at this time, and then they thought it would release at this time. Anyway, there are, for the Afghan, there are written directions, charted directions, and the video. And they really wanted to release everything all at once so that everybody could be included. So if you're purely a visual learner, you could start along with if you use the written or the charted. I do both. If I only had the written and the charted, I would probably use those just fine. They're perfectly good. I like charted crochet instructions because I feel like I better understand where everything ties in. But I also like having the written so I can go back and forth and make sure that what I'm seeing matches what I read. And then I really like the videos for this one because Mikey of the Crochet Crowd kind of gives little tidbits or clues of kind of what might happen next. So I understood why they wanted to wait. A lot of people were on Facebook were crabby today. I was disappointed because I had planned to do it and I didn't really have anything else to work on. I had my twitchy sock with me, but I didn't have anything else. But and then when it released, I had meetings that I was physically at, so I couldn't do anything about it. So when I got home, I did the next clue on both sets of squares. So I'm going to show them here. I'm not going to talk about them. And then I'm also going to show pictures. So, the only thing I will say is that this clue, clue 3, does use your final 2 colors. So, by the time you're done with this, you will have all 4 colors in your square. So, alright, if you don't want to be spoiled, look away. This is mine. This is Best Friends. And I'm now going to show a picture of both of them. The lighting is off on Best Friends because I finished it after dark, so I had to use the bathroom. So I'm going to show that. If you don't want to be spoiled, keep looking away. So, I'm done showing clue 3, so if you were hiding, you can come back. So now I have a lot of those to do. And I think I like both of them. So I'm very interested to see where this is going. And it's a little weird looking, but Mikey of Crochet Crowd has promised it's all going to come together. So, and I believe him. And even if not, it's really a lot of fun. There is another crochet along that's going on for quite a while that's called Sophie's Universe. That is so cool. It's a big growing square, but it is the most beautiful growing square. You need worsted weight yarn, and a lot of it comes out to like 4,000 yards. And I was looking going, wow, even cheap Red Heart, that would be pretty expensive. Although, honestly, Best Friend just finally figured out how much I spent on my Kaffe Fasset Afghan. I went, oh, and I said, yeah, that's why we're not giving it away. Not just the time, but there's a lot of money into that blanket. But anyway, the Sophie's Universe is just beautiful. I don't have permission to share anyone's photos, so I will link it in the show notes, but it's beautiful, and there's a part of me that really wants to start it, and it's like in its 6th week, I believe. Anyway, I'm also trying to tell myself I can't start anything until I get the Kaffe Fasset blanket done, although that might not be fair to me. So, the Kaffe Fasset blanket, which I'll explain that now, I worked on over the weekend because I finished these squares. So I decided to start attaching the other squares, and I brought them with me to Best Friend's house because I can lay things out on the floor at his house without the cats, and which was really nice. And I had been planning to crochet my squares together. Now I decided a while back that I didn't want to make my crochet line decorative. I didn't want it public on top of the squares because I thought it visually broke up the stripe design. Because you have, two squares coming together and their stripes line up at some sort of angle, whatever you did. Mine are like this or like this, depending on the square, depending on the join. And I didn't want that visually broken up by another line. So I decided to crochet them from the back. And from the back, it looked really nice. And then I flipped it over to the front, and there was this nasty gap. Here, let me show you a picture. So at that point, I decided, okay, I will be mattress stitching this. So I had to look up how to do the mattress stitch because it's just not something I do very often. And so I looked up the mattress stitch, sewed up the first 2 squares, and that actually took a while, partially, well, first because I was trying to remember how to do it, and then because I got part way and realized that I had actually shifted over about 1 inch. So I was lining up the first red stripe on one square with the second red stripe on the other square, so they were off. So I had to undo it. But after that, it looks really pretty. It joined up really nice, and even though doing the mattress stitch is kind of boring, there's a little bit of magic with going back and forth, stitching back and forth, and then when you're done, pulling the string tight and having the whole thing close up so it looks seamless. It's awesome. Anyway, so let me show you the pictures of the mattress stitch close up, and I finished 2 strips because I decided I showed you guys last time that I'm going to put all the same colorway in a row and they're going to zigzag. So I finished 2 of those. So let me show you the pictures. I also put a picture I had taken of the squares all standing up because when I was packing them up for best friends, I had stacked them all up and I was like, that looks really pretty, so I just snapped a picture so I can share it with you. But I am keeping that whole project at his house because then there's no kitty interference. But like this week, I'm only going to his house one evening. Yesterday I needed to be home. Today he's teaching. Tomorrow he's got something going on. Plus I'm going to be working with my son over the internet, and the internet's better at my house. Thursday I'm going to his house, and then he's actually gone this whole coming weekend. So I will only get one night working on that. So now to make one strip took me a little over an hour. In both, I started an episode of Property Brothers, and on the first one, it took me an extra 15 minutes, but that's also because that first one I had was still kind of getting used to it. Once I got into a rhythm, it was pretty good. And then the second one, I started another episode of Property Brothers and pretty much finished right after it finished. So about an hour per strip. Now that means I still have 7 more of those. That means I have 7 more hours of making strips, not to mention sewing the strips together. Plus, there's a border. But we're not thinking about that part. We're just thinking I can make progress. Because otherwise that blanket is overwhelming. I did mention my twitchy socks. I forgot to bring them home, I think. Yeah. I know where they are. They're on my desk at work. I actually worked on them. My twitchy socks are the socks I work on in the movie theater, generally, or waiting rooms or whatever. They're the socks that are pretty much stay in my purse. They're tube socks until I put an afterthought heel. It's fleecy sock, and I did do a little over 3 stripes in them because I went to the movies with a friend of mine on Sunday, and we went to lunch, and then we went to go see Paddington. We were going to see something more intellectual, and then we decided that Paddington sounded like a lot of fun, and you know what? It was. It was just, we were both laughing out loud and giggling, and I've never heard my friend laughing that much. It was awesome. We had a really great day. We had a really good weekend. I mean, there was nothing super exciting this weekend. I mean, I obviously got a lot done, and then Saturday, best friends came over to play Dungeons and Dragons, and we also played one hand of Cards Against Humanity. I joined them for that, but I don't join them for the Dungeons and Dragons. I have played D&D. I mostly don't because I kind of have more fun sitting on the sideline and knitting or crocheting, whatever I'm working on, and mocking, helping, teasing, whoever I feel like at any given point. So, and sometimes I do help. Sometimes I'll be like, check the closet, you know, or something like that. It's sometimes if my guy is the dungeon master, meaning he's the leader, I already kind of know where he wants the story to go. And I also know when it messes up. Well, not messes up, but when they go a totally different direction, he has to think on his feet. But because of that, it's a little harder for me to be in the group. So, mostly I just, have fun from my spot. And this has been going on for a little while. They're used to it. So I'm also the person that goes and fetches the food. It works all around. But we had a really nice time with them, and then on Sunday I spent time with my friend, and then I spent the evening with best friend, and we decided to go out and have a nice dinner, and it was just a really, really nice weekend. And I'm breathing a little better. I went to the doctor, got prednisone. I am off the prednisone. I'm not feeling 100% better. Of course, as soon as I think about it, that's when I cough. I'm not feeling as good as I should be, and she wanted me to come back for a follow-up anyway, so I am going back tomorrow morning. So I was going to wait a couple days so that it was a week, but I'm like, I know how I feel, so I'm okay with talking. Laughing just puts me over the edge. So, I think that's it. Oh, I'm going to post a picture at the end of a shawl Mom made. It's made of a Tahiti colorway. I don't remember the yarn. And the shawl is by Boo Knits. I'm really bad. I don't remember the rest of it. She will probably post it, if she hasn't already, into the February knit-along thread. So, go there. But I will still post a picture because I think it came out really pretty. And, yeah. I think that's it. Let me look. I looked at the pictures first to see if there's anything to tell you, and then I'm looking at my notes. Oh, I didn't do a what do you want me to share. I'm still feeling a little run down. I'm going to skip the what do you want me to share today. And also we're running out of questions. So if you would like me to share anything, either something that you have found that you want me to share outward, or something that you want me to share about myself, something like that, please put it in the what do you want me to share thread on Ravelry, and I will be glad to share it there, or share it here on the podcast. I know I can answer one. Angel Mom 3, who is not Angela, she is Sandy, even though I called her Angela for a really long time. asked if I was going to YarnCon in Chicago in April. I am not going to YarnCon because I'm going to be at Knitopia with Tina, Blooming Knitter of the Knitting Blooms podcast. She's doing the Knitopia retreat again, and I'm going to be participating in that in April. The way she does it is there's a weekend. It's actually 2 weekends and the week in between, and she counts those as 3 legs. You can do the first weekend, the week in between, or the second weekend, or any combination. Some people stay the whole time. I'm doing just the first weekend, and that happens to be the same weekend as YarnCon in Chicago. What I thought was funny was Sandy asked me if I was going, and I told her no, and neither was she, because she was going to be at Knitopia with me. She hadn't looked at the dates yet. I was trying to think if there are any events I'm going to be at, and right now there's nothing that I'm for sure going to aside from Knitopia. In July, we're planning another trip to St. Louis. And other than that, and that's not yarn related, that's Cardinals and Star Wars related. Apparently the Cardinals are having a Star Wars night, and we are going down to St. Louis for a week for the Star Wars night. And to see Allison. And to do whatever else we do. So there, I have shared something. I shared that I'm not going to Yark, which was one of the questions on the thread. So, alright. I am going to go now. I will talk to you guys all later. I will probably build this tonight, but then upload it tomorrow at work. It goes so much faster there. So, I will talk to you guys all next time. Bye now.